Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and this week we are going to start tackling the ECU on the Rockster. Alright, welcome back guys. As many of you have seen, I am midway through a V8 swap into my 1998 Porsche Boxster. If you have been missing the episodes, I'll put a link up above so you can catch up. But essentially what I've done is I've taken the Audi V8 out of a C5 Audi A6 and shoehorned it into the back of this car. Most of the subframe is looking pretty good now, and obviously I've got a lot of connections still to do. Today I'm going to start looking at the ECU, and for the start, because I'm going to be running this engine basically as it came out of the Audi, I'm going to run it with the factory ECU, or at least attempt to. It has been done by others, so this is a possibility. There's something that can actually be done. There have been a lot of comments about people saying that why am I not using an aftermarket ECU? And I probably will in the future, but it's more of a proof of concept. It's more showing that this can be done relatively inexpensively. As an engine swap, definitely it's going to still be costing me a lot less than it would to put to get another Porsche engine, or even get a engine rebuilt. Obviously the engine out of this car was never getting rebuilt, but it's definitely a much cheaper option for an instant 50% horsepower increase. So today it's a time to start pulling the ECU out of this car, and then I need to start looking at making a bench wiring loom to try and remove the immobilizer from this factory ECU, because it's not going to start in this car without a bunch of other stuff if I don't get that immobilizer out of the way. Okay, and this is the factory ECU that I've still had connected to the wiring harness the whole time, because it really doesn't want you to get it out. Basically, it's all spot welded in, and then these look like they're actually like some sort of screws that were screwed in, and the head's been snapped off so that you can't tamper with it. It's all sealed in, so they'll know instantly if you've played with it. Obviously, in my case, I want to play with it. This one is quite easy to undo. Just by sliding this piece up, it disconnects it, and the whole plug comes off. But the other one is not coming unless I get this whole box out of the way. So my first task is to cut this thing open so that I can actually start playing with it. All right, so this Audi has been sitting under this tree for a while now, and you can see it's looking a little bit unloved. But I need to go in here and tackle this and have a look and see if I can get out the OBD2 port, because I'm going to need that to build my wiring harness. All right, well, I've been doing a whole heap of research into how to actually flash this ECU and what I need to do. So I'm going to have to open it up, but I need to make myself a wiring harness. Now, it sounds really complicated, but doing a bench wiring harness, it doesn't actually seem to be that crazy complicated. Now I have the OBD2 plug out of the car. I need to wire up, I've actually got some wiring diagrams here that I've sort of managed to find online, and they show you exactly what wires to connect up, and there's only a few of them. I only have to connect up sort of 4 or 5 of each of the ECU and of the OBD2 plug, and there's sort of a couple of grounds, a couple of actives, and then there's just one wire that's between the two, the K-line wire, which is actually sending the signal through. That's it. It's the bench wiring harness is pretty straightforward. Now you need a good solid power supply. A lot of guys use computer power supplies from sort of desktop PCs or whatever. Just, I don't have any of that. I am a complete electrical numpty, but I'm going to use my jump start pack. This is a nice solid power supply. There's very little power draw to do this, so let's start now wiring some of this stuff up, and I'll show you what I do. Okay, so it's not pretty, but I've got my OBD2 port here, and I've linked them up with a lead to power and a lead to ground that I will run through here, and then I've connected up the wires as per the wiring diagram I have here. I used some Deutsch pins to connect up to the individual pins of the ECU, and also a couple of these tiny little spade connections on the other side. Basically, as you can see here, the black wires are ground, the purple wires are power, and this one grey line, that's the K line, that's the actual signal line going from the ECU through to my OBD2 connection. And then I have an OBD2 cable that I can plug in here that goes to USB that I can chuck into my laptop and hopefully try and program this. All right, well, I've spent a lot of time doing some research, and it's a slightly complicated process for somebody who has absolutely no idea what they're doing, like myself. Basically, from what I've gathered, obviously I have my ECU here. I need to read the information off of it, and then I need to be able to edit the information that's on there. So to remove the immobilizer is my main goal. And then I need to rewrite that edited information back to the ECU. That requires a couple of different programs. It's, as I said, this is all new for me. This is one of the programs, free program, Nef Moto. Seems to be what most of these guys are using for this stuff. So I'm going to give it a go. I've got my cable connected up now to my ECU. I actually have my power supply here, which is my jump start pack with a nice full battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it up and turn it on now and just see what we can find out. And hopefully I don't fry the ECU. If this all goes wrong, then it's out the window and I'm just going to go straight aftermarket. But I'm hoping that I can prove that this is doable. Time to turn it on. Okay, we're on. It's doing something. I think I've actually, I think it's actually working. How good is that? All right, so I've spent a lot of time now going backwards and forwards, having a look at the programming of the ECU, and I'm having issues actually just connecting to it. Obviously there is some connection there happening, but thankfully the Nef Moto forum is really useful actually, and I put a post up there. A bunch of guys came back to me and gave me some information saying that potentially the chip inside this cable is actually interfering and not letting me connect up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this up and see how we go about bypassing the chip in here. So I can just make this a dumb cable that just directly connects up the USB to the OBD2 port, and hopefully then we can just use the dumb cable to get the information through the way I need it to. Okay, so I pulled apart my cable and you can see here that there's the circuit board inside, and basically there were these pins here where this wire was connected in, and I've just soldered on some new pins onto that area there. So I've just bypassed this circuit board, but I've done it in such a way where I can unplug that and plug it back in here again if I want to use the cable again. So I haven't totally voided the cable. So now I can just reassemble it as is, and hopefully I now have a dumb cable that will do the job. Fingers crossed. Well, in typical Jeff fashion, I messed that whole thing up, and yeah, basically I had my laptop connected up, and as soon as I switched the power on to my cable going through my ECU, my laptop just went blink, and I think I've completely fried it. So that is really not good. So at this stage, I am leaving this whole thing. Yeah, I'm not that happy, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So that's just... All right, well, it's been another week or so that I've been sitting around. I sort of really got... I threw the toys out of the cot when I actually fried this laptop. And I have decided that I'm not going to play this game anymore. It was all a temporary thing anyway, because I am hoping to do other sort of power mods and things like that to the Audi engine down the track. So running the factory Audi ECU was just more of a proof of concept that you can actually do it. And there are plenty of guys who've done it. The guys on the Neff Moto forum have been really good though. Like as soon as they posted something up, they got responses and stuff like that. Just so any of you who want to try and follow down that path, you can absolutely do it. But I have actually been in talks with Link, who supplied the ECU on Harry, and yes, I'm going to... I'm talking to them about putting a aftermarket ECU in the car and just go the right way the first time. As I said, it was all just a proof of concept, just to prove that you could do it and do it on a budget. The aftermarket ECU is a better way of going about it. It's going to do everything properly, and particularly with the plans I have moving forward with that car, that is the way to go. So anyway, that is it for this week. I wish I had more for you, but as always, if you're enjoying the videos and you want to help us out, you can watch the videos a day early, ad-free, if you join us on Patreon. And if you want to find any parts for any of your Porsches, make sure you compare prices at PorschePartsByJeff.com first. See you guys.